Hello, good evening, and welcome again to BCL Beyond the Boundary. This evening, I'm very happy to have Atherton Cricket Club Chairman Tony Gredecki. Hi, Tony. How you doing, bud?
Very well, Simon. You?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much. Yeah, not bad at all. Thanks for taking a bit of time out to speak to us. I'm sort of getting round all the clubs as best I can, so obviously it's nice to get in contact with someone at Atherton as well. So to give you your 30 minutes of fame and promote the club and basically tell the world about Atherton Cricket Club. So I'm hoping these interviews do that and give clubs a voice, essentially.
Definitely, yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity to do that, really, Simon. It's again, something we've been trying to do for a couple of weeks, and with my diary and your diary, we couldn't quite get things together. But obviously, thanks for the opportunity, and hopefully, we can tell a little bit more about Atherton and what we're trying to do down there.
Brilliant. So before we start, obviously I've got a sort of loose agenda to work to, and I've done the same thing with most clubs. But essentially, there's going to be people watching this who no idea who I am, no idea who yourself is. So I want you to introduce yourself, Tony. Tell us a little bit about yourself, playing career, your backrooms involvement at Atherton Cricket Club. Just sort of a potted version of yourself, please.
No problem, mate. Well, yeah, I've been involved with Atherton Cricket Club now for almost 35 years. I first went down to the club as an 8-year-old. My mum took me down there on the advice of a school teacher of mine at the time. I met John Charlton the first time I went down to the club, and I've been down there ever since. In terms of playing, I played under 11s. We didn't have under 9s in those days, if you remember back that far. Played under 13s, under 15s, under 18s, captains all the junior teams at the club. Then went on to play senior cricket for a good number of years in all senior teams, first team, second team, and third team more recently. Stopped playing probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Had an operation on my knee, a couple of operations on my knee actually, and got more involved in the off-field stuff, so to speak. I've been on the committee now for 10 years or so, and I'm chairman of the club, as you said at the start of the piece, and I've been chairman. This is now my 3rd year as chairman at the club.
Superb. Thank you very much. So obviously, everyone watching, obviously realises what who you are, and what you do at Atherton Cricket Club. So we'll sort of move on to our loose agenda. So first of all, obviously, I want to chat to you about Atherton's season essentially this year, which I know hasn't got going yet, but I want to know, what your plans were for this season in terms of the teams and the players, any sort of club improvements, anything you've got going on at the club, and then finally, any sort of events or anything in the social calendar that would normally happen.
Super, yeah. Well, again, let's split it up into two parts: the cricket side on the field, and obviously the administrative side of things, and the club off the field, so to speak. Junior-wise, Simon, we have quite a lot planned. We've had probably a period of about 5 years now where we've really tried to grow our junior section. We identified, both myself, Greg Greenuff, I know you know well, Greg, who's head of our junior section, and a couple of the other junior coaches. We kind of identified that a lot of clubs weren't really giving the junior sections the time, the investment, both financially and obviously time-wise, and the coaching side of things that they really should do. And I think our club was probably guilty of that as well. So probably 5-6 years ago, we started to address that, and it's starting to bear fruit now, because I look at where we are as a club junior-wise. We have, this year we had an under-15s team for the first time in a number of years. We have an under-13s team, under-11s team, with 2 under-9s teams, and obviously our All-Stars as well now. From that point of view, All-Stars for us has been a revelation, really. We had last year 66 All-Stars. Wow. So absolutely, yeah. Trying to control 66 under-8s is a bit of a task, really. But it's fantastic. And on a Friday night, you go down for All-Stars. You've got 66 under-8s. Some of them bring the friends, some of them bring the cousins and family. So you've probably got 65, 70, 75 children some nights. Our under-9s train on a Friday. Our under-11s, under-13s also train on a Friday. So you kind of look round the club on a Friday night and the sun's shining, it's not wet, and you've got 100 kids there all playing cricket, all involved. The bar's really, really busy. The front of the club's really busy. There's food going out the kitchen. Everyone's having a good time. The kids are running around. The sun's shining. And you kind of stop yourself every so often, just have a look round, engage and think, wow, this is what cricket's about, this is what sport's about, and this is what Atherton's about. So from that side of things, from a junior point of view, things have really, really moved on for us. We got involved with quite a decent pre-season. I think we've probably done about 7 weeks by the time the COVID issue had struck. So we'd started in January doing indoor stuff with our younger ones.
Yeah.
We'd also had an under-13s team entered into the BCL indoor competition, which had gone really well. They got to the semi-final and done very well. They finished third. Our under-11s were involved in that competition as well, and we're doing well and really progressing and learning. So things were really geared up for us in terms of juniors, and then obviously COVID hit and the rest is history. In terms of the seniors, again, I thought we were in a very good spot also. We've got a good mix, I think, of experienced players, guys that have been around in league cricket for a while. We'd signed a fantastic professional. We'd signed a guy who, just to give you an indication of his calibre, Simon, when we were filling in his Tier 5 document, his last 5 first-class games, one of those games was a test match against England.
Wow.
So, we thought, obviously having been promoted the previous year, we'd set out 2019, myself, Steve Welsh, who's our first team manager, Jesse Dinney, and Tim Skipper, and Tim McKeon, our first team coach. We kind of set out goals and objectives for all the individual players within the squad, but also as a team. And our goal for the year was to get promoted into the top league, which we achieved. We potentially could have, but for a couple of off-field decisions, been champions. But that's sport. Sometimes that's life. Decisions don't always go your way. But we felt from that point of view we were in a good spot. Our second team we've got some good kids coming through who are playing a lot of representative cricket that are kind of making that step, that transition, as you did and I did, into playing senior cricket with men, and it's very different. You can be a very, very good junior and go into second team, third team cricket, and I think then you realise what you need to do to kind of kick yourself on if that's what you want to do. So we've got a good base of youngsters coming through. We've got a lot of old timers that were there to obviously enjoy the cricket, but also to help the juniors come through. I got back involved a little bit on the playing side of things. 2 of my boys, my eldest was playing senior cricket. My middle son would have started playing senior cricket if selected this year. And the second team have a good captain in players in Tom Madden. Tom, he's a real student of the game and somebody that I think would bring the older guys and the more experienced guys in terms of cricket, and also the youngsters through and kind of gel them both together. So from an on-field senior side of things, plus our third 11, who again have been really good in developing our younger players. They look geared up for the West Lancs League, and we're looking good. We've got guys there in Robbie Harper and Danny Hughes who are going to do the captain's job together. So from a playing point of view, both senior and junior on the field, I thought we're in a good spot.
Sounds very strong, yeah.
Yeah, but again, these things happen, and again, you can only deal with the situation, shall we say, that you put in. Off the field, we've been really busy as well. This winter been through a big refurbishment plan at the club, where we spent probably in excess of over £15,000. With that, what we've done is the club inside we all felt was dated. We've been in a situation, I think, where the club, because of the hard work of the committee, because of the commitment of our members, we've generated surplus revenue over the last couple of years, and we all made the decisions as a committee that we would reinvest that money for the benefit of the club, for the benefit of the members, and obviously for the benefit of the community as well. So from that point of view, we decided to go ahead with a refurbishment plan. We've had a completely new floor put throughout the club. We've had the old bar ripped out, a new bar put in. We've had new worktops in the kitchen area, cupboards in the kitchen, new lighting throughout, and the club looks great. It looks fantastic. So, you know, what we were looking for was this year for a decent summer. Ironically, we've had a decent summer so far.
We have, yeah.
Weather, unlike the wet summer that we had last year. But that's not to be. So we, again, from that point of view, we're in a situation where we just need to wait and see what happens in terms of the COVID situation. The club is ready to go. The club's ready to go. But saying all that, what we need to think about from a club point of view and from a league point of view is the most important thing is the health, safety and well-being of all our members and obviously everyone in the wider cricket family as well. So that's kind of where we are in terms of on and off the field. We're very, very busy. We've had a number of events that we've had to either postpone or cancel. Things like our Family Fun Day that's run for probably the last 15, 20 years. We also have a music festival that it runs. We've run it, I think, to be our 4th year. This year actually was the first year that we were going to do everything in terms of the bands, all the entertainment, not the security, not Max and Paddy style anyway, all the refreshment, and absolutely everything, but we've had to cancel that. We've got the Past and Present Players Association, where we have the Papa Golf Day, which Paul Walsh, Walsh has done a tremendous job there, Simon, in terms of bringing a lot of past players back into the club, people of his dad's generation, of Steve's generation, and everybody kind of in between, really. So we've had to that's been postponed actually till September, and fingers crossed, you know, the social distancing measures are released sufficiently enough that we can have that. We also have every year an annual Halloween fireworks spectacular, which is a massive money spinner for the club. You probably get 2,500 people on there, which is so again, that's another event that we're hoping can kind of go ahead. But also there's a lot of community events that we have. We do things like 6-a-side tournaments for works teams, for other sport teams, you know, for rugby clubs that we have links with, football clubs we have links with, the ambulance service that we have members that are part of, schools tournaments, things like that. So there's been a lot of things that were in the diary for us that unfortunately can't or unfortunately won't go ahead this year.
Sounds like a few you need a rest, to be honest. Sounds like you've been busier than ever.
We've been very busy, Bluey.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it. But no, it's great to hear that obviously clubs are investing in the facilities and the clubs, and Farmouth are doing a very similar thing, you know, using the downtime really to try and, improve what we've got essentially and just try and do the best we can. So it's great to hear, obviously, everything that you've done. Daft question, but obviously COVID's hit us and it's hit us hard. It's hit the seniors and juniors. How's it sort of hit the seniors and the juniors? And then lastly, what sort of strategies and what things are you doing about it?
It's obviously hit us very hard. Ultimately, the cricket club is closed and it has been closed. We as a committee made a decision that once we went into lockdown, literally the club was locked down. Very few people. I didn't actually personally go to the club for the first 6 weeks. A number of people, obviously the ground staff, had been on there. They understood the social distancing guidance from the ECB. So from that point of view, the ground looks fantastic. I've been on obviously a number of times since then. It looks great. Our ground staff are spending a fortune on diesel, mind you, cutting grass and doing all sorts of jobs to keep everything pristine. So from that point of view, you know, from a grounds perspective, things are where they should be. The club has been mothballed ultimately because of the lockdown and you know, our need to protect the club and obviously adhere to the social distancing laws and regulations from there. but it's been a difficult time. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, everything's been fine. Everyone's had a lot of communication. You know, we've used Zoom. We've had meetings on Zoom. We've had decisions to make. The juniors have communicated well through WhatsApp, through social media, and you know, we've tried our best to obviously keep everybody involved. We didn't really have a massive break between the end of the season and our pre-season with the juniors, which did help. And as I said earlier, you know, we had a good period of time together before the COVID situation from there. So it has been hard. We are doing, you know, what we think is right. We made a decision that we wouldn't open our nets for a number of health and safety issues and reasons more than anything else. We are in a process of reviewing that, and obviously with the new guidance in and around 6 people being allowed to be involved in a training session together. Myself and Greg Greenough have been involved in discussions restarting that. But I think what we've tried to do is keep everybody together as best we can. Obviously, we've got to obey the social distancing and make sure that everybody is safe. And if we do get the green lights in place for cricket, in whatever guise this year, that everybody's in a situation, a position that they're healthy and confident that they want to do that and get back involved with playing cricket, which is the reason we're all there, really.
Absolutely. No, that's good. So it brings us on to sort of our next thing. You sort of already mentioned your plans with regards to professionals, so we're going to jump straight back into that. So I want to ask you about professionals and overseas amateurs. Obviously, Atherton are relatively new into the Bolton Cricket League. Relatively new. Obviously, we've had a few years already, but I want to sort of understand the club's what's the word for it? Perception of overseas players, professionals, and out and overseas. How you manage that sort of process, and then as a spin-off to that, the importance of having that sort of quality at our level. So, what's Atherton's take on professionals and overseas amateurs?
My personal opinion on it, Simon, is similar to the committees. That what we want to do as a club is, and I'll take it from a club point of view first of all, is to bring in a professional that is going to be the right person for the club at that particular moment in time. Now, as an example, last year we had a very young overseas from Sri Lanka, a guy called Manelka de Silva, who for me was a fantastic cricketer, fantastic player, but potentially even more importantly, a great human being, a really good bloke. Who he was only a young guy, he was very mature. His presence around the club was tremendous. He was at the club all the time. We had no issues in terms of any problems with him. He helped out with the juniors. He socialised with all the guys. He was involved with all the guys, and he really put a lot back into our club. Now, last year he was perfect for us. Now, obviously, we've moved up a league. His commitments meant that he probably couldn't have come back anyway. But we understood as a club that the standard of cricket would be much higher. We would have to get the services of a professional that was more proven, had played, at the highest standard in
international level.
20 one-day internationals. For two reasons. One, from a playing strength point of view, because you do need that quality to raise people's games. Because I'm a firm believer, and I know the committee are, that if you play with better people, it does raise your game because you see them do things and you learn things from them. But also, you don't want to let those people down, I think. And when I played with good professionals, you always did raise your game because you didn't want to let the pro down or be somebody who dropped a catch or missed a stumping or would let them down the bat. So there's that side of things. So from our point of view as a club, that's what we needed this year. So it does vary, and then from our point of view, we just need to get that right. From a holistic point of view, what do good professionals and good overseas bring to the league? I think all the things I've just said, really. It's so important, I think, to maintain and try to raise standards within cricket or in any sport league. And you will do that. I think having a good professional does do that. And I think the other benefit that it gives you is from a junior point of view, but also from a senior point of view, is you see people from different backgrounds, you see people from different cultures, you see people from different religions, and ultimately you realise that the majority of people are the same. The majority of people are good people, and last year we had an Australian in the team, we had a Sri Lankan in the team, and those guys are very different and very culturally very different in the backgrounds, but brought different things to the club. And as somebody who is a father of 4 children, 3 of them play at the club. My daughter does the All Stars as well, actually. But again, to let your children and the juniors at our club have those kind of experiences with people from around the world, I think it's a fantastic learning point, not just from a cricket point of view, from a life point of view as well. So I think, it's really important that you have good professionals and you have people that not only want to get involved in batting, bowling and catching, but also want to get involved with the club, with the juniors and the culture and the ethos of the club. And I think what we've been very lucky, we've always really tried to look after our professionals. Yeah. And back of that, we've had a lot of professionals that have shown us a lot of loyalty. And we had a Skype quiz the other Saturday night, and Jamal Griffiths, who was our pro for 4 or 5 seasons, not so long ago, joined in on the quiz because he's not seen anybody since when he was over for Ian Nuttall's wedding just before Christmas. So people do stay in contact, and it's a great way to, as you know.
I was going to mention him, funnily enough, because a lad I play golf with was over in the West Indies, and he got chatting to this bloke who was actually Jamar, and yes, he literally couldn't say any more superlatives about Atherton Cricket Club. And my mate doesn't know cricket from Adam. He's a golfer, and he said, "Oh, I've got a mate who plays at Farnworth." And he said, "Oh yeah, in the same league, I know." And it was just really strange. He come back from his holiday from the Windies. He said, "I've met this bloke, played for Atherton," and obviously I knew it was straight away. And he couldn't have said any more nicer things about the club. So it does prove that you do look after your pros, and I think it's invaluable that if you do look after these guys, and people have got to understand that they come from other countries, they put their life on hold for 6 months, and it's culturally an absolute. It rips the world apart, doesn't it? Because if they've never been to this country before, you've no idea what to expect, and it's really important that you do look after these professionals. And I've seen that firsthand, that in good and bad, to be fair. It's really nice to know that obviously Atherton, with the professionals and the ethos around having them and making sure that they dovetail into what you've got. Right. Last subject, T20 cricket. So T20 cricket's obviously huge around the world at the moment, and what I want to know is obviously what's Atherton's aspirations in terms of T20 cricket. How do you horse your T20s and how do you get involved, and then ultimately what does a club like Atherton want from T20 in the future?
Okay. We as a club haven't been massive on T20, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons is the day it's played, which is on a Friday. We, as I said to you right at the start, we have 100 plus kids down on a Friday night. And in terms of us as a unit, we as a committee feel that, I wouldn't say that's more important than T20, that's the wrong thing to say, but it's more established at Atherton than the T20 is. And because of that, we made the decision that we will play our home games on a Tuesday. Now, that obviously does give us some problems, does alleviate some issues in other areas, but that's kind of where we are, and that's the decision we've made. Now, we did talk about this year, perhaps speaking to the league, about hosting some of our T20 games on a Friday, some on a Tuesday at home, and kind of breaking it up and getting the juniors involved with that side, and perhaps moving, just a couple of the Friday nights with the juniors to a Thursday night, just to try it out and to kind of test the water a little bit, really. But again, those plans haven't come to fruition, so to speak. in terms of the bigger picture, what do I think about T20? What does the club think about T20? I think it's becoming more and more popular. Well, I know we all know it is, but I think it will become more and more popular in league cricket because of the obviously shorter format, the fact that you can pretty much guarantee it will be over within a certain time. There are a lot less factors in terms of commitment. It doesn't take all day. You don't have to necessarily be as committed as playing 50-over cricket Saturday and sometimes double-header weekends. So it does appeal. You can play it on a Friday evening, you can play on other evenings. So yeah, I think from that point it does offer good options. There are other options such as playing with 4 teams at the club and playing kind of a round robin format or something like that. So I think it will play a big part in cricket moving forward. And I think I'm a real purist in terms of cricket. Test cricket is number one for me and will always be number one for me. ODIs, again, on the back of the World Cup. I think before the World Cup, perhaps we're starting to lose, and one day cricket was starting to lose 50 overs anyway. We're starting to lose a little bit of its edge with T20's popularity, but also the of the 100 competition and whatever that kind of brings along from there. So coming back to where we are and as people who are involved in league cricket, I think T20 will become more and more popular, and whether the league this year, if we do get to a situation and a position that we do get some cricket play, kind of prioritise that, I'm not sure that would be such a bad thing really, especially around the social distancing and everything that goes with that.
Well, you've read my mind, because obviously the majority of the people that I've spoken to, in previous weeks, we've not had the guidance that we've had so far. So obviously talking about adaptive cricket, whatever that looks like in whatever guise, who knows what that looks like. But, potentially, yeah, T20 is going to be, could be a weekend thing, could be a Saturday thing, Sunday thing. Is that something that, you think Atherton will adopt and embrace, I think is the best word?
Absolutely. I think from where we are now, the prospect of cricket is looking possibly more likely than it did maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Will we be playing 50-over cricket? I'm not sure. And the fallback position from those is, as you say, we talk about this adaptive cricket, whether that means adaptive in the rules, the duration of the game.
Three-a-side.
Three-a-side. No one plays three-a-side. I don't know what that means. And what I will say, what I have said to a number of people involved with our club and from other clubs, is this, that again, I talked earlier about the health and safety and well-being of everybody involved with the game. I don't personally think that there were many takers for doing things like playing 8-a-side, keepers can't stand up, you come change, you bring your own.
I'm not playing if I can't stump somebody out.
Absolutely, it just takes a huge element out of the game. There's even talk of playing masks and this, that, and the other.
I've got one. I've played in one for about 10 years.
Me. Well, I wore one a few weeks ago, walking around the supermarket for about 10 minutes. And I thought, after 10 minutes, I'm going to have to take this off.
Yeah.
So to be playing cricket in those conditions and that scenario, for me, it's not going to happen. However, if we avoid a second spike and we're too political or too involved in the science side of things, but if we avoid a second spike and things start to be relaxed in terms of the social distancing side of things, come August time, you just never know. And from a cricketer point of view, it wouldn't be about just playing cricket for us. It will be about giving the members something back. Having some downtime, meeting back up with everyone face to face, all the people that we're looking forward to the season so much, showing the club off with in terms of the refurbishment and showing the members really that all their efforts and the committee and our committee, Simon, is a very good committee. There's a lot of people on that committee that do us, that want to get involved, that you don't have to ask them to do things quite often because they've already done that and perhaps the next 1 or 2 things that you wanted them to do from there. So it will be a real good opportunity to get everybody into the club, show them what's been going on, and get friends, family, and everyone back involved from a community point of view as well, and maybe have a few beers as well.
Well, I mean, we all take it for granted, don't we? You know, we don't. We've had it taken away from us, and you know, just popping into the club on a Tuesday night for a pint and a chat and just talk drivel, or it doesn't matter. And then obviously, you know, Friday night, you know, Farmouth will be similar to you guys. Obviously, we're not as many 8-year-olds, of course, but you know, that's what you try and do. You try and get your Friday night, you get all your parents down, and you try and have as much fun and as much enjoyment as possible. If the sun's shining, you can sell a few beers, then, you know, it doesn't get any better, does it?
It doesn't, mate, no. And that's again, for us as a cricket club, and for me, my involvement with Atherton, you know, it's a family club, and really that's what it's all about, yeah.
Superb. Well, that sort of concludes sort of my questions. Is there anything that you want to tell the world about Atherton before we wrap up?
No, I think we've really covered everything today, Boo. I just want to say again, thanks for the opportunity to speak about Atherton. Probably people think, you know, God, this guy's gone up, you know, over the top a little bit in terms of what he says about his club, but ultimately, I personally have taken a lot from Atherton Cricket Club in terms of you know, friends, in terms of building of character, and things that I've relied upon in my personal and professional life that have stood me in good stead, really. I am now fortunate that I'm in a position that I can give a little bit back from what I've received. The club was in a great position when I took over as chairman, and what I want to do and what I intend to do with the help of the members and the rest of the committee is to move the club forward in a positive direction from there. So if I do come across as having a lot of passion and being over the top of Atherton, it's because I am.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I interviewed Ian Taylor, Taddy, not long ago, and one of the things that he said in his interview, he's watched a few of these, and the passion and enthusiasm that people have got for local cricket has been astounding. And I think he's right that the idea behind these interviews was to show people what's happening and maybe get to speak to people and listen to people who they wouldn't normally get to speak to. So, you know, thanks for your time. It's been enlightening, and you know, listening to your passion about Atherton's been great for me. So yeah, thanks for your time, Tony.
Pleasure. Cheers for that, Sam.
Lovely. That concludes our interview, and that's been Tony Gredecki, chairman of Atherton Cricket Club. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.